Hello YouTube, this is Sean from the Pompey Games Room. Hope everyone's well. So this is a really different video for me really. I got asked by Sean of the thesaintedmagnusshow. Everyone on here must be subbed to Sean. He's a brilliant channel. I'll link down to it if you're not. And also the video that this one's relevant to. Sean basically approached me about sort of 2 months ago, month and a half, 2 months ago, about possibly doing a section for his video. He wanted sort of a few sections, 5-minute chunks, really sort of that he could intersperse into his video. He was doing a Megadrive video, basically looking back at the history and sort of his memories of the console and things, and he wanted some input, so I was well up for it, and yeah, definitely I wanted to get on board. So I'd done the 3 parts of the video he requested, and I sent them to him, and he's included them in his video that he uploaded about 2-3 weeks ago, I believe. I said to Sean, after I sent the last part to him, that I would like to make my own video, obviously involving my parts of the video, and yeah, I was really happy with it when I sent it to him. I've done a lot of research for it, got to play a lot of absolutely classic games along the way as well, and revisiting a lot of old gems on the system. I mean, it's amazing how many games you sort of, forget how good they are, sort of, just going back to play them again. So anyway guys, make sure you check out Sean's video. It's linked down the bottom here, as is his channel obviously, and send a sub his way. Like I said, I'm sure you've already subbed to Sean, brilliant YouTuber. I also just wanted to say a quick thank you to all the new subs that I've gotten. Past 3 weeks I've got an excess of about 30 to 40 subs, so absolutely amazing guys. Feel free to approach me for trades and sort of with any Mega Drive stuff you've got towards the collection. It's starting to sort of slowly take over this cabinet here, and I'll soon be putting my first box up into the loft, so of games that I'm not really going to play. So anyway guys, I'm going to start rolling on the YouTube videos that I produce for Sean. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Hi guys, this is Sean from the Pompey Games Room on the thesaintedmagnusshow. Today we're going to take a look at the Sega Megadrive, by far my favourite console of all time. Following on from the SG-1000 and the Master System consoles, the Megadrive was released in 1990 in Europe and Australia, following a successful release to Japan in 1988 and North America in 1989. The Megadrive was born from Sega's System 16 arcade board from 1985, which was a massive hit in the arcades, giving us classics such as Altered Beast, Shinobi and Golden Axe. With Nintendo's dominance during the mid-80s in North America and Japanese markets in particular, Sega wanted to take the technology from its arcade boards and incorporate it into a new home console that would blow Nintendo out of the water. With Sega wanting to make an impact in the home console market, they wanted the console to represent superiority, which is where Mega came from, and speed, giving you drive. Put those 2 words together and you get the word Mega Drive. Originally slated to carry this name worldwide, Sega hit legal problems in North America, meaning that the name needed to be changed in order to sell the console in this market. With the console renamed Genesis in North America and Mega Drive in Japanese, European, Asian, Australian and Brazilian markets, this console would have a worldwide lifespan of 9 years. For the US release, Sega attempted to partner with gaming giant Atari for distribution of the console, but both Sega and Atari were unable to agree terms after lengthy talks, which ultimately resulted in Sega pushing ahead on their own. Along the way, the Mega Drive would give us some truly breathtaking games, most notably the Sonic the Hedgehog series. It would also receive many add-ons, from the Power Base converter, which allowed you to play Master System games, with both the 32X and Mega CD attachments allowing you to play graphically better games. The Mega Drive is also recognised as one half of the battle for the 16-bit gaming superiority when it was matched against the SNES throughout the early 90s. From the outset, in America, Sega went after big-name sporting and entertainment stars such as Joe Montana, an American football player, and Michael Jackson. The Mega Drive was also massively helped out by a little blue hedgehog called Sonic, who would go on to make Sega a household name in homes all around the world. So the Mega Drive only really had 2 major designs. There was a Mega Drive 3 console, but this didn't sell half as well due to it not supporting many of Sega's add-ons, and also being at the end of the 16-bit gaming generation. The Mega Drive 1 was the original console released in 1988 in Japan, Earlier versions of the Mega Drive carried a statement of high definition graphics around the top circle of the cartridge port. This is not to be confused with the HD consoles that we have today that are say like 720p, 1080i and 1080p, but in the sense that the Mega Drive 1 had high contrast, meaning that certain elements of the games looked amazing on old style TVs that we all undoubtedly used back in the day. So the Mega Drive 1 console primarily featured a horizontal power switch, pressable reset button and slidable volume switch. The PAL version of this console outputs a 50Hz signal, whereas the Mega Drive in other areas will output in 60Hz. Other differences between the versions of the Mega Drive 1 in other territories were a larger 16-bit logo to the console case, addition of blue buttons to the Japanese console, and some minor colour changes for the Brazilian and Asian models, along with the obvious Genesis branding to the North American versions. The Mega Drive 2 was released by Sega in 1993 in a more scaled down casing with removal of the headphone jacks in favour of a stereo output and a redesigned 9-pin AV port to the rear of the console. As with the Mega Drive 1 console, there were some minor changes to the design in other territories, with the addition of a power switch rather than a power button to the Japanese models. When it comes down to controllers for the Mega Drive consoles, Sega reviewed the design in the later years, moving away from the old oversized kidney bean shape in favour of a new, smaller, more rounded, sleek design. With the upturn in console fighting games such as Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat in particular, Sega needs to introduce a new controller that would allow you to pull off all those special moves. It's also worth mentioning that Sega Mega Drive controllers will also work on an Atari 2600 and 7800 consoles. As well as controllers, Sega also released a range of arcade sticks and normal joysticks that could be used across a wide variety of Sega games. There was also massive support from third-party developers as everyone looked to cash in on the Mega Drive's success. After briefly mentioning games such as Mortal Kombat in the last section, it's worth mentioning that controversy with these games, mainly in America, forced Sega into creating the Video Games Rating Council. This was mainly due to the fact that Mega Drive copies of Mortal Kombat incorporated blood into the fighting engine. So that meant that every time you connected with a punch, or pulled off a move, or kicked someone, that blood would fly all over the screen. Nintendo versions of Mortal Kombat did not have the blood, meaning that if Sega wanted to sell these sort of games on their hardware, it would need to go through some sort of rating agency and have some sort of branding to the box and any promotional paraphernalia, which age range this game would be suitable for. The rating system would go on to allow Sega to ship the games with little or no censorship because of the age rating, which would give them the competitive edge when the game was also released on Nintendo consoles, with consumers wanting to play best versions of the game with more content. Nintendo would later be forced into joining this rating system so they would not be outdone by Sega. Sega stopped manufacturing the Mega Drive in 1997, with a full withdrawal to European markets in 1998. Okay guys, so let's quickly have a look inside the actual Mega Drive consoles. We've got the Mega Drive 1 here, which is the high definition version. We've got the screws already taken out. You might also notice that the button here is missing. That is because the button to this console is actually loose when you pull it out, and the buttons usually fall out when you take the case off. So that's pretty interesting to know. This is the Mega Drive 2 here. I've taken out the screws out of this one as well. It's pretty important that you keep these screws separate because the actual screws that hold the bottom of the console in are a lot smaller, a lot bigger, sorry, than the ones that actually hold the RF shield internally in both consoles. That seems to be the same. So anyway, I'll set this camera up on the tripod and we'll take a look in the actual consoles, and I'll try and pinpoint and go into as much detail as I can about the chips. This is the actual Mega Drive 1 with the actual top of the unit taken off. I've got it to the side here. So just to let you know, the actual shielding here is actually a lot more difficult to take off than the Mega Drive 2, and I'll go into that further in a minute. Because you've basically got an additional screw here, you've got screws fixed all around here, and it's also clipped in at the side here. So anyway, we'll try and take this off. So this essentially is a Mega Drive 1 board. Obviously you can just about make out the actual cartridge slot there. So your game would obviously sit on there, fixing through the console. Sits pretty snugly there. Take it off. Here you've got your expansion port for the actual Mega CD attachment. It would always come in on the same sort of side, so your Mega Drive 2 has also got this as well, which we'll touch on in a minute. And these are your primary chips here, so I'll do a close-up of this one in a minute. This is the Motorola chip, which is usually always used in the Mega Drive 1 consoles. It's also got a date here of 24th of May 1992. So we're actually coming up to 20 years since this board was actually made. So the other chip of interest is down here, which is the sound chip, which is a Yamaha YM2612 chip. Basically, I'll put some specs on the bottom of the screen here so you can see. I'll also just do some close-ups now. So this is the actual board that I was saying. That's the main chip just here, which is a Motorola chip, which is the CPU essentially. And if I just move this out of the way here, there's bits everywhere in these Mega Drive 1 consoles. You've got your Yamaha chip. So we now move on to the Mega Drive 2. So this is the actual RF casing shielding here, which is a lot easier to pull off. There's nothing that you sort of like is interlinked with the board below. So you can literally just take it straight off as soon as you've taken out the screws and things. Pretty simple, and a much more compressed board when you think of it compared to the Sega Megadrive 1, which is obviously a much larger board. This is all very, very scaled down, and also has some scaled down chips as well, with a Motorola CPU chip there, which is definitely scaled down from the long sort of rectangular shape that you had in the other console. So again, with the other console, you've got your cartridge port there, which your game would sit on. You've also got your expansion port here again for the Mega CD unit. You've got your controller ports at the front here. And this about sums up the actual inside look at the Mega Drives. It's just a quick look. There are much more informative videos on the internet and YouTube in particular about mods you can do to these consoles, so I definitely suggest that you check those out. With very little moving parts in the makeup of the Mega Drive consoles, they very rarely go wrong. So picking one of these up for a few pounds in an auction site will give you hours of entertainment, as you play classics such as Sonic the Hedgehog, Streets of Rage, Revenge of Shinobi, to name a few. So let's now take a closer look at the add-ons to the Mega Drive in the Mega CD and the 32X. The Mega CD attachment was released to Japan in December 91, North America in October 92, and April 1993 to both Australian and European markets. By the time it had reached the European market, it retailed for around £200 at release, as Sega looked to cash in on new advances in CD gaming. With the advancement into CD-based games, Sega found that they were able to fit literally hundreds of cartridge-based games onto a single disc, due to the massive storage facilities that were now made available to them. Originally well received in its European release, the Mega CD would go on to win Electronic Gaming Monthly's Best Peripheral in 1992. But this aside, it wasn't long after release that cracks started to show in the add-on. One of its biggest criticisms came in the way of its gaming library. Despite the advanced capabilities of the Mega CD, a large number of developers only released rehashed versions of existing games on the Mega Drive. With the Mega CD games costing more than a standard cartridge game, consumers felt that they had been tricked into purchasing another copy of the game, with the only major difference being that it was now on a CD format. This aside though, there were some truly standout titles on the system. In Earthworm Jim, which received tweaks to the gameplay, new music to certain parts of the game, with new and larger levels from the Mega Drive classic. Luna, the Silver Star, and its sequel Eternal Blue, which won critical acclaim and became a cult classic on the system. The Luna series of games would later be resurrected on the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn towards the end of the 90s. But the main title on the Mega CD, in my opinion, is Sonic CD. Sonic CD was a totally redesigned game, with larger levels that were loosely based around the previous two released Sonic cartridge games on the Mega Drive. With amazing music, cutscenes, and special stage design, this would have made the Mega CD, in my opinion, a must-have back in the day, and one of the main reasons that I actually picked up the Mega CD unit a few years back. With the redesigns of the Mega Drive 2, Sega released a Mega CD 2 in 1993 for around £150 to the European markets. Major changes to the design were the CD attachment now connected with the Mega Drive to the side rather than on top, and the omission of the motorised tray in favour of a spring-operated door. Unfortunately, the Mega CD was further hit by the limited 512 colour palette, with a maximum of 64 displayable colours on screen at any time. Also, there were processor problems which resulted in low resolution and frame rates to many of the games. With around 6 million units sold in its lifespan, the Mega CD would later be incorporated into the Sega Multi-Mega, Victor Wonder Mega, JVC Wonder Mega, and Pioneer Laser Active. The Mega CD would have a worldwide lifespan of 6 years following Sega's discontinuation in 1996. In November 1994, Sega released its next add-on, as they tried to boost the popularity of its aging system. Released to European markets before the North American and Japanese markets, it was another pricey addition to the Sega hardware library at a cost of £170 on release. Due to the downfall in the popularity of the Mega CD in the years before, Sega were always going to face an uphill task with the 32X add-on. Also, the fact that Hayao Nakayama, then the CEO of Sega, only gave the designers and engineers 9 months to bring the 32-bit capabilities to the Mega Drive, it's no wonder the add-on only had a lifespan of less than a year. The 32X would sit on top of the cartridge slot in both the Mega Drive 1 and 2 consoles, allowing you to play 32-bit game titles rather than the standard 16-bit Mega Drive titles. It would also act as a pass-through to standard Mega Drive games, allowing you to effectively leave it installed in your console permanently. The only drawback to this, however, would be that you would need to have a separate power supply powering the 32X unit as well as your Mega Drive console. Many things hampered the 32X add-on, with failure to meet shipping goals on release, vouchers given away with the 32X that were difficult to use, and bad ports of games. One in particular being Doom, which was missing 10 levels that were present on the PC version of the same game. To summarise the 32X add-on, it was really released far too late in the Mega Drive's life. With consoles such as the PlayStation 1 and the N64 in particular already appearing in gaming magazines around the world, the future was certainly not going to be coming via the 32X add-on. Sega also had the Sega Saturn to focus on during the same period of time, meaning that more developers only wanted to design games for the new era console, rather than a 32X add-on on a 16-bit cartridge-based machine.